Petang to all. Welcome to the 6th ASEAN CRN, ASEAN Climate Resilience Network meeting, the 6th ASEAN CRN. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to express our gratitude for your presence today. It is glad to have representatives from ASEAN CRN focal points and other ASEAN working groups, and also from international agencies such as GIZ, FAO, GATSA, and others. We are delighted that finally we could organize this meeting this year, even it was supposedly to be held last year in Penang. But unfortunately, due to the COVID-19, we thought we are still not be able to be there in Penang. But we hope that with the small tokens from us, will bring the Penang ambience in this meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to call upon the Director General from Malaysian Agricultural Research and Development Institute, MARDI, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Dr. Muhammad Rauf Muhammad Noor, to deliver his short welcoming remarks and also to launch ASEAN CRN commemorative token. Please welcome Datuk.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Dr. Ing Ong Panyaki, Deputy Director General, Department of Agriculture, Thailand, Camp Chairman, ASEAN CRN. Distinguished ASEAN Climate Resilience and ATWGARD Focal Points and its alternates, distinguished representatives from international partners, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to welcome all of you to the 6th annual ASEAN CRN meeting. Our deepest appreciation goes to the ASEAN CRN and ASEAN Secretariats, GIZ and FAO for the excellent coordination, especially during the challenging time of COVID-19 pandemic. We can see effective coordination beginning last year's first ASEAN CRN coordination meeting, which was held virtually in April 2020. Through a series of successive online meetings, ASEAN CRN country members always extend their full commitments, and most importantly, they are regarded as family rather than just a group of members. It was astonishing to see such a strong bonding among all representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully we all have fruitful discussions on regional exchange to address climate change and food security during this pandemic, and also to discuss on strengthening regional collaborations. I'm honored and delighted to officially launch the ASEAN commemorative token as a remembrance for the 6th annual ASEAN CRN meeting. Thank you and terima kasih.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Dr. Rof. It is so nice to have our little TT, the Malayan tiger, as an ASEAN CRN mascot for this year's meeting. Thank you very much to GIZ and ASEAN CRN Secretariat for coming up with this brilliant idea. It is so lovely. Next, without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Margaret Yuvatana, representing Thailand as Chair of ASEAN CRN, for the opening remarks and presentation of the Chairman's report. Please welcome Dr. Margaret.
Thank you, Harris. And that commemorative souvenir is it's awesome. So hello, everyone. I'm so glad to see all of you once again, my dear ASEAN CRN family, even virtually. I'm very much honored to co-chair this 6th ASEAN Climate Resilience Network meeting with Datuk Dr. Muhammad Rauf Muhammad Noor, and very much excited that for the first time, we are holding this meeting virtually, and knowing that the organizers have some surprises in store for us, I am confident that this would make virtual meetings more fun and enjoyable, which is very much needed, especially at this time where we need emotional strength. I therefore would like to commend our host, the Malaysian Agricultural Research and Development Institute, and all the people behind the scenes for your creativity and devotion to make this meeting as another milestone for the ASEAN CRN. Thailand, as chair of ASEAN CRN, we are tasked to present the chairman's report. This chairman's report is created in a way to also introduce CRN to new participants attending for the first time. This video is made with love. So let us thank Chester and Para Bukas and Dada Bakudo. So please enjoy the chairman's report. Back to you.
Maybe Dr. Margaret can say something about her report.
I'm very thrilled. I'm very excited, and I think we should have dance along the way while we do it, and then we can dance while we are viewing it, right? So it's very nice. Thank you, Chester. Thank you, Dada.
Right. Okay. Thank
Back
you.
to Aris.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for such a wonderful opening remarks and presentation of Chairman's report by Dr. Margaret, the Chair of ASEAN CRN. Now we will move over to our next session, which is the presentation of participants. This session will be moderated by Ms. Imelda Bakudo, Dada. Of course, no need for introduction. She's our ASEAN CRN coordinator, and she was there right from the beginning. Over to you, Dada.
Thank you very much, Harris, and really very happy to see MARDI over there with really Dr. Mohammed, our founding member there, so that Dr. Margaret doesn't feel too old. And of course, I really cannot wait to see who else is joining us today. That's why I would like to show us who is participating in this very short meeting. So next slide, please. So you might be wondering who is in the room. This is not a public event, but by invitation only. And who had been invited are our ASEAN CRN focal points from the 10 member states, of course. This is actually your event. We've had development partners, CCAF, CIAT, FAO, GACSA, GIZ, Climate Smart Land Use Specially project, as well as other projects from GIZ, Grow Asia, Rice Watch Action Network, Stockholm Environment Institute, Social Forestry, and the ASEAN Framework on Climate Change, Asia Farmers Association, World Business Council for Sustainable Development, Climate and Clean Air Coalition. Next slide, please. If I miss anything, please, you can write on the chat box. We also have the ASEAN Secretariat representatives joining us. We have several working groups representative, usually the chair, I think, working groups on crops, ASEAN Working Group on Climate Change, Livestock, Fisheries, the Social Forestry Secretariat. We have the SOM RDPE, the Rural Development Poverty Eradication, and we're very happy also to have the ASEAN Committee on Women. They sent us their reply to our homework at midnight last night. And of course, who's helping me right now with the support of Para Bukas, as supported by GIZ. So Para Bukas is an organization in the Philippines. So this is who we are. I would like to invite everyone to please turn on your video. We would like to see how many of us are wearing the t-shirt, just very quickly. Turn on the video, please. And if possible, we would like to just say hi to everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Rainy from Brunei.
Everyone. Oh, hi from Brunei. Hi, just make a sound for 1 minute. This is our only time to turn on our video.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
afternoon.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Philippines.
Hello everyone.
Hi everyone.
Hello, Dada. Hello, everyone.
Very happy to see
Hello.
everybody. Okay, so thanks to everyone, and we hope we are going to have a very interactive session. Next slide, please. So you might be wondering, we have sent you the agenda with the objectives being mentioned there, but we hope that just to remind you that this objective, why we are meeting today, is we wanted to make a report on the activities of the ASEAN CRN since the last meeting. I think the video and the report of the chair from Dr. Margaret has shared with you a lot of the activities that have taken place in the last year and a half since we last met in Laos. On internal meeting later on, there's going to be 2 administrative issues that's going to be discussed amongst CRN focal points. This is an internal meeting discussing sustainability for the support of ASEAN CRN and amendment to the ASEAN CRN TOR. But most importantly, the objective of this meeting is really to provide a platform for all stakeholders that want to be united in the work of climate change, agriculture, food security, resilience, low emissions in land use. So we might not be able to achieve an output of a final work plan today, but we really hope that we're able to begin the discussion and let us know later if we need another meeting that could continue the discussions that are going to be started today. And then the fourth objective is identification of partners and ways that ASEAN CRN can contribute to the various frameworks that ASEAN, through the ASEAN Ministers of Agriculture and Forestry, has put forward in order to bring about a more resilient ASEAN. Next slide, please. I wanted to take you forward now on how we're going to use the very short time that we have together. I think at this moment, you will see that there's the meeting objectives, agenda, expected outputs. Then the bulk of our discussion is really a presentation of our collated needs, regional needs, on the topic of climate smart land use, and how do we make each one find support for the objectives that are put forward. And so there's going to be inputs as well. There's going to be inputs from member states through breakout sessions or from working groups through the breakout sessions. A lot of the inputs would be from, sorry, I'm getting distracted from comments that says they did not receive their t-shirt. I also did not receive my t-shirt. And also we will have inputs from our development partners so that they could very well tell us what is on offer or how they can support member state initiatives and needs. And then at the end, we will have an internal ASEAN CRN focal point meeting. So I hope that things are clear regarding how we are going to spend our day, our meeting. Yeah, okay. If there's any question, I would like to remind you that the chat room is open for you to bring in your comment or any suggestion or questions. Next slide. So before we present this short video break from MARDI, and before we proceed, I would like to say that we were all very, very sad that this meeting is happening virtually and not in Penang in Malaysia. Because our host, if you have attended previous CRN meeting, you would understand that we are very big on having fun on our meeting, apart from really discussing very substantial content. And I think that's how partnerships are formed. So we would like to show you a very short video break from MARDI as to what we are missing from Malaysia. Had this meeting been in Malaysia, this is what we will be experiencing. So they created this video for us to see.
Hey there! Okay, I'm pretty sure now you guys in the meeting break. I'm in Penang right now. I'm very sorry you guys can't be here with me. I'm with MARDI Food Hunter. In Penang we have something special and we have nasi kanda. Nasi kanda is a curry-based meat dishes and vegetables. This is the nasi kanda fish head curry.
Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le
wait for it. So what next? Dinner time. Wow! Very good.
Okay. Is there a problem with the... Okay, that is a short video break from our host. We just have to pretend that we are in Penang and they are hosting us and we are eating all those food that they wanted to share from us. So we hope that Malaysia can still host ATWGARD meeting and CRN meeting because we wanted to really taste those food. What do you think, Dr. Margaret, as co-chair?
I'm hungry now. I'm hungry again. It's very nice.
So that was a short break to show us what we are missing by not having the meeting in Penang, but also an introduction of the culture of Penang. So let's go on to the first bulk of our meeting. Yeah. So you might recall that the purpose of our meeting is really to come up with, to understand what are the needs for the agriculture sector and other land use to face the impacts of climate change. What are the needs and what are the support coming from agencies, development agencies that can help us, and how, if we match them together, how it can support several of the vision of ASEAN that they have put forward. How, in short, how CRN can support the vision of ASEAN in the face of climate change. So you might recall, next slide, please. You might recall that for the invitees, for everyone invited, we have sent you this work plan template. First, we sent you a template on support needs, in which we based it on several relevant strategic thrusts of the Food, Agriculture, and Forestry Vision, Cooperation Vision 2025. So we have sent this on the left to a lot of the representatives of ASEAN working groups. So you have Strategic Thrust 1, Strategic Thrust 4, Strategic Thrust 6 coming from the FAF Strategic Plan. There's also a broad Strategy 5 that came out from the newly developed and newly endorsed ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Plan. As you can see, the template was created in a way that shows all the activities, what CRN plans to do will actually feed into particular frameworks that already exist and are endorsed by the ministers of agriculture and forestry. Next, on the right, you can see that we created a template that's called Support Sources Template. In this one, this is the potential partner that can give support towards the strategic thrust that we are hoping to contribute to as a knowledge exchange platform with several areas of work, such as resource mobilization as well. So you can see that some of you are very good partners in that you sent us a completed template. Some of you, I know, are very busy, very, very busy, that we understand that you did not manage to send us feedback into this template. The good news is you are always very welcome to send us still responses to this. But today, we are going to present to you what we have gathered from the responses that was sent to us. Next slide, please. We are going to present to you the results of this mixing and matching exercise. 3 years ago, back in Cambodia, when Cambodia was the host, some of you may remember that we did what we call a love match exercise. We match the needs with the support. And I believe that at that time, Thailand reported that they had the highest number of love matches between what they need and what the donor agencies or development agencies can offer. We hope that Thailand was able to follow up some of these initiatives that were discussed many years ago. So the strategic thrust or objectives where we hope to contribute are really going into the vision and strategic plan for ASEAN cooperation in food, agriculture, and forestry, 2016-2025. We are now on the midterm of this plan. We also look at the strategic plan of action for the ASEAN Technical Working Group on Agriculture, Research and Development, which when you see on the history of CRN, that's where CRN reports to as the formal working group of ASEAN. And then we look at the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework and see where the needs and where the support can all be contributing towards these three framework, ASEAN framework. Next slide, please. So who replied to us was from Asia, DHRRA, SEI, Grow Asia, FAO RAP, Regional Asia Pacific, and GIZ, Climate Smart Land Use. Meanwhile, the very busy focal points of working groups, we managed to look at their program of action or their strategic plan of action in order to look at two areas: increasing resilience to climate change, natural disasters, and other shocks, and strengthening ASEAN joint approaches on international and regional issues. So we saw that a lot of these the partners on the left all have allocated support for the two thrusts on the right. Next slide, please. So the regional needs, as I explained before, are really CSLU GIZ project has done an initial review of relevant activities that are embedded in the strategic plan of action or the plan of action or the strategic plan of action, SPA. So we can see that most of the regional needs in this sphere falls into three thrusts, strategic thrusts: ensuring quantity and quality of sustainable production, increasing resilience to climate change, natural disasters, and other shocks, strengthening ASEAN joint approaches on international and regional issues. Next slide, please. We also, I would like to say that thank you very much to the ASEAN Committee on Women. They also sent us answers to the questions and the assignment that we have sent. So we summarized the mixing and matching exercise into 5 thrusts that can be found from 2 documents. One from the SPA, one from the strategic plan on the cooperation vision for FAF, or Food, Agriculture, Forestry 2025, which is under the ASEAN Ministries of Agriculture and Forestry. And the other 2 indicators, I believe, are coming from the Comprehensive Recovery Framework of ASEAN. So we will see a lot of the needs are falling under this category: ensuring quantity and quality of sustainable productions, or carefully balancing production increases with conservation objectives and the needs of local communities. Next. Increasing resilience to climate change, natural disasters, and other shocks. It also includes in this strategic thrust 4 actually of the FAF cooperation vision, the integration of gender issues within sustainable agriculture is also mentioned here, as well as the provision of access to climate-related finance for resilience to climate change. Next. Strengthening ASEAN joint approaches on international and regional issues. This is also an important key element of the strategic plan on FAF. Next. Promoting high-value industries, sustainability, and productivity in agriculture is identified as one of the tools of the comprehensive recovery framework of ASEAN. It includes the promotion of climate-smart agriculture, the strengthening of food value chain, utilization of digital technologies for food and agriculture sector, and implementation of ASEAN regional guidelines for promoting CSA practices, which you saw in the history of CRN. CRN has been instrumental in the development of that. So, and then next. And then there are other support needed provided regarding implementation of the ASEAN Recovery Framework. It includes targets and objectives relevant to the role of the CRN. So the next slides will show you a summary of the answers that we gathered. On the left side is the available resources, and on the right side are the regional needs. I'll start with the regional needs. For example, there is ASEAN guidelines on promoting responsible investments in agriculture sector to be prepared. Some RDPE action plan, for example, RDPE meaning Rural Development Poverty Eradication. Their action plan includes promote trainings to improve food production and agriculture competitiveness amidst challenges of climate change and working with AGIC. So it will be a surprise because some of the FAF working groups are here, and this is from the RDPE action plan. You can see that there's a lot of similarities. And on the left side, you could see that there are resources coming from Asia DHRRA, Asia DRA, from Grow Asia, and FAO Regional Asia Pacific Office. Next slide, please. That could complement the needs, the regional needs on the right side. This is going to be a long set of table, and I would invite you to keep reading on, because this would be the basis of our breakout session, where you will see regional needs matching with available resources, and we hope to put you together. We are still on priority thrust number 1 here on increasing resilience. We are now on increasing resilience to climate change. You could see that for FAF, they want there's a guideline already on integrating gender dimension. There's also regional initiatives on CSA supported by climate change finance mechanisms that need support. From the RDPE action plan, document and share good practices and challenges, capacity building on village community-driven development. The ASEAN Committee on Women also is looking for enhancing gender data and evidence on the impact of climate change to women and girls in ASEAN. You could see on the left part that there is also support for these. I would like to state that these are not really the best matches. We just put them together as best as we can. Next slide, please. You could see from the food, agriculture, forestry sector, guidelines on integrating gender dimension, and ASEAN Committee on Women also have this in as part of their action plan, increasing resilience of women and children to climate change, natural disasters, and other shocks through development cooperation projects. ACW work plan also has for until 2025 gender responsive climate change and disaster resilience. And there are several more on disaster risk reduction, response, and recovery. Next slide, please. I hope you are reading. I cannot read everything on the very long table, and we will be discussing this in the breakout sessions. GIZ also is now offering a climate finance training for sector experts. Sector meaning the land use. There's going to be a development of additional volumes of the ASEAN CSA guidelines, ASEAN Climate Leadership Program, and more support for the ASEAN CRN Secretariat. While matching that with the regional need of implementation of the ASEAN guidelines on promotion of CSA practices. Next slide, please. I would like to emphasize that I will not be able to read all of what's in here because there will be a chance for the development partners to speak later on. You could also see on the right side here, still on the resilience to climate change, natural disasters, and other shocks, there's a lot of complementarity from the FAF sector, the Committee on Women, and also RDPE. So I really think we've been having several discussions or meetings in the past with these groups, and I really hope that we can see how we could work together more effectively. And this meeting should be one of, again, another starting point. Can I also have the next slide, please? Because there's a lot of slides like this. Is this the next slide?
Yes, Ms. Dada.
Okay. So regional needs for FAF, there's a common positions on key issues affecting the agriculture sector developed by ASEAN, available resources from ASEAN supporting some RDPE in drafting their rural development and poverty eradication. This is the strengthening ASEAN joint approaches on international and regional issues. This is the third thrust. Maybe I will go through this very fast. Next slide, please. I think we shouldn't let the main file in the Philippines. The Wi-Fi is slow. Next slide.
So next slide po, Ms. Dada.
Okay, so there's also a lot of scaling up initiatives coming from FAO Regional Asia Pacific, for example, in select countries, even on AFOLU sector, and for FAF, there's the common positions, even with RDPE, there is also this need for common positioning. They have this ASEAN Forum on Improvement of Knowledge, Skills, and Competence of Stakeholders in Climate Change Adaptation within ASEAN member states. That's very relevant also to what a lot of what we are doing. This would be a great time to talk about collaboration. And I know that there's representatives from ASEAN in the group. Next slide, please, because I have to wrap up. So more on the ASEAN common positions. Next slide, please. ASEAN Fall Armyworm. There's also this. So now we are on the next thrust on promoting high-value industry sustainability and productivity of agriculture. So we thought these are some of your activities that fall under this trust, promoting high-value industry sustainability and productivity of agriculture. You can see on the left several projects that address this, and I think RDPE also has a need for this, and I know that the FAF sector, this is also embedded in some of the strategic plan of action of some of the working groups. We are happy that representatives from several working groups are in attendance, and you could actually update this matching exercise in your breakout session. Next slide, please. Is this the next? Okay. So other support needed provided in the implementation of the ASEAN Recovery Framework. We saw that there are several other support that could contribute to the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework. ATWGARD has the empowerment of rural people's organizations. I think that we could also really would wish to work with ATWGARD on this. GIZ CSLU also provides several policy briefs, graphic narratives, dialogue events on, for example, linkages between COVID-19, climate change, and the food security sector. So I think, I'm sorry for we have no choice but to present it in such a manner. This is normally we have a very fun exercise in physical meeting when we do this, but we are not able to go together. So can I see one more slide? The next slide. So this is also, again, other support needed, especially in increasing resilience of women and children, where SEI also gives potential support on knowledge and research on disaster response and resilience, especially on slow onset events. This is as best as we can in doing what we managed to get from the template that some of you suggested and from some of the SPA that we can get, which we admit is probably not updated. So we are going to have to move to a breakout session where we hope that you can join us, help us update this, and not just update, but really discuss this more and collaborate with the partner that you will see in your breakout session. Next slide, please. So that's the best way we can, apologies, that's the best way we can do to present the matching exercise of what you have written in the work plan template and what we found in your strategic plan of actions of different work groups that we think are relevant to agriculture and land use. I'm pretty sure that this is not complete and it's far from complete. And so we would like, if possible, for a breakout session where we hear more from you and update us and join one of the 5 thrusts that we put forward, one of the 5 thematic area that we put forward and discuss more. I would like to actually call on my colleague from the Global Alliance on Climate Smart Agriculture, Lufingo, to give us feedback, to give us instructions on how we will proceed with the next activity.
Thank you very much, Dada, and welcome to this breakout session on Marketplace to meet and discuss the work plan. I like the term marketplace because you can't sell what you don't need, and nor can you buy what's not there. So this is the perfect place to come together and matchmake. As Dada had mentioned, thank you very much for your eloquently presenting. We will now split into breakout rooms. We have about 30 minutes to go through our discussions and provide our contributions, and also go in a bit deeper in these discussions, reflecting on the needs, the gaps, and how can we form stronger collaborations and synergies. There are 5 breakout rooms. If you could please go to the next slide. There are 5 breakout rooms, as Dad had mentioned. picked on the strategic entry points, ensuring quantity and quality of sustainable production, increasing resilience to climate change, natural disasters, and other shocks, strengthening ASEAN joint approaches on international and regional issues, promoting high value industries, sustainability and productivity in agriculture, and lastly, any other support that's needed. So please feel free to look at the different breakout rooms that you're most comfortable with and join these rooms. But before we move on to the breakout rooms, just so that we are easily guided, we've got facilitators, 5 facilitators that will lead us through our discussions. And I just want to point out to the facilitators, so let's maximize on the time allocated. Please spend no more than 5 minutes just to do a quick room self-introduction so that we maximize on that. The key thing for participants to note as well, as we explore our synergies and collaboration, please look out for matching opportunities, what's needed and what support is required. Let's also look at the exercise result and the impact they have. As a key partner, which of these do you think would be best for you to pursue in collaboration with other partners in the room? And lastly, as facilitators, kindly note as well, you are free to share your screen so that those in the room are able to see and reflect on the issues that were captured, that Dada also ran us through. To guide our conversation, we've got 3 questions. Sorry, if you could just go to the next slide. Following slide on the guiding questions. Just to guide our conversation, there are 3 main overarching questions that we would like to pose and stir up the conversation. Number 1, it's really on needs. Where are the gaps? What are the areas of work that CRN should really focus on? Secondly, on impact. How can CRN increase its impact, particularly targeting farmers? And lastly, how do we unlock these opportunities to collaborate? Without this innovative platform like CRN, we will hit certain bottlenecks. What are the key partnerships and synergies do we need that even CRN can maximize on? As I mentioned, next slide, we have 30 minutes allocated for this. So please, let's look out for the areas of convergence. And again, I would like to reiterate and stress on the practical partnerships formed from our discussions. Last slide. Now on the mechanics in joining the breakout rooms, it's pretty much straightforward. The breakout rooms are now live and open. If you look at the bottom section of your screen, you will note there's a breakout rooms icon. It should be the second last on the right. If you click on that, you'll get a pop-up similar to what is being reflected on your screen right now. Hover your mouse over the number or the join, you should be able to join the room of your preference. If you have any issues, please feel free to drop me a chat, or Yana, who's also online from GAXA, to just drop us a chat, but it should be pretty much straightforward. Just the bottom of your screen, breakout rooms, click on that. You'll get a pop-up screen, hover your mouse over the number. You should be able to join your preferred breakout room. Happy discussions and looking forward to the report back where the facilitators will run us through a 2-3 minute quick overview of what's been discussed and what has been captured, right, especially on the partnerships formed. Thank you very much, Dada. Over to you. If you have any difficulties, please let me know, but you can hover again on the breakout rooms bottom of your screen on the right, click on breakout rooms, you'll get a pop-up, hover your mouse over the number, and you should be able to join your preferred breakout room.
Fingal, when shall we be back?
You'll be prompted. So in 30 minutes, you'll be prompted to come back to the plenary. You have about 30 minutes for your discussions. You may join your breakout rooms now. Are we okay in joining the breakout rooms? I still see a few in the plenary room. Are we okay in joining?
I can't find the. You say that it's in the corner right hand side bottom of screen.
Yes, on the bottom of your screen, of the Zoom screen, on the right hand side, the second icon on the right hand side, you'll see an icon. Breakout room.
Could you get back because we are not catch to the breakout group.
Okay, on the bottom of your screen, on the Zoom screen, there's an icon, breakout rooms. It should be the second right icon on the right. The bottom of your screen on the far right, there's breakout rooms. If you click on that, you'll get a pop-up.
I don't see the icon.
I think I got a message from one of the participants that some of them don't see the breakout room icon.
I couldn't find the icon. No icon there.
It's the icon is a small little, it's a small little box with it's a window with four little boxes, and at the bottom it's written breakout rooms on the bottom of your Zoom screen.
Dear all, I would just like to mention I can manually assign you to the breakout room just to speed up this process a little bit more. Please let me know what are your preferences for the breakout rooms, and I will do it automatically right now manually. I think it's just easier like this.
Thank you, Yana. I'm going to.
Can you repeat the different thematics for the different four different?
Sure thing. I've just posted as well I've also posted on the chat. So breakout room number 1 is ensuring quantity and quality of sustainable production. Breakout number 2, increasing resilience to climate change and natural disasters and other shocks. Breakout 3, strengthening ASEAN joint approaches on international and regional issues. Breakout 4, promoting high-value industries, sustainability, and productivity in agriculture. Breakout 5, other support needed, contribution to the implementation of the ASEAN Recovery Framework. So those are the 5 breakout rooms. I've also posted them in the chat for ease of reference. Yana, I see there's some that are already highlighting their preferences in the chat.
Yes, I'm already moving as requested, so it's going pretty well. There are still few people, so if you can please just let me know in the chat room where would you like to be assigned. Lufingo, as you are the facilitator, I think you can join your breakout room as well now.
Can you place me on the 3rd?
Yes.
For Vietnam?
Yes, just a second.
Yana, before I leave, please place Hana in breakout number 3.
She's already there.
Okay, thank you.
So there is still 5-6 people remaining. If you can please let me know where you would like to be assigned.
Our team is all right, Yana. I think we'll just cycle through the rooms to check to see if anybody needs anything. Thank you.
Yes.
Yana, I think Mr. Nia Tran from Vietnam said that he wanted to be in breakout room number 1.
Sustainable production. Perfect. Thank you.
Hi, Yana. I think Miss Hien wants
Yes.
to join breakout room number 4.
Yes, I'm just looking for him right now.
Okay.
It should be fine now. Hannah, what is the problem? It's not working, or?
Well, nobody is in my group basically. Not no here in focal points, but actually I got moved out automatically in a different room just now. I need to just re-enter my group. I don't know what happened, but there hasn't been anyone joining so far, except for Gemilang from ASEAN Secretariat. So no ASEAN focal points. Well, we'll just wait.
Hannah, can I please ask you to try to join the room again?
Hi, Anna. I think we're gonna stop the breakout at 4:27.
Yes, okay, I spoke to Lefingo, so I'm sending a group message to everyone, let's say in 2 minutes that there are 5 minutes remaining.
All right, okay.
Yeah, perfect,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Hello.
Lefingo.
Hi there. Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm good. There's no one in our breakout session just now, only us. So we just prepare simple input.
Really? I'm sure you ate more kwet chow.
More time. Actually, there's nothing to say in that breakout room, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
So the idea only come from our group, not from others. It's not fair.
It's good. It's okay. You can control. You control the whole thing.
I think the topic itself is quite heavy recovery framework. Not many of us realize about this issues on that.
So is everyone back here now? Bingo, are you gonna manage the reporting?
I think we're all back in now.
Yes, I closed all the breakout rooms, and everyone is back here in the plenary. So over to you, Lefingo.
Thank you very much. Welcome everybody back to the plenary. I'm sure that we all had an exciting, quick 30-minute session in trying to pick out and jog certain things. And I would like us to quickly go around, not more than 3 minutes, just to highlight the key things that came out from your discussions. And then from there, we'll move on to the next. All right, so I will start first with group number 1. And that was being led by you, Bo. Over to you. Just a quick 2-3 minutes. Thank you.
Thanks, Lefingo. Yeah, in our group we started off with a discussion about some specific things that were going on in countries, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, with respect to sustainable production, increasing productivity sustainably, avoiding expansion, how to address things like yield gaps, for example. And so there is definitely some areas of technical work that that the CRN could be focusing on. In terms of impact, our discussion moved in some interesting directions. So things that came up were private sector engagement, digitization in agriculture, so as a way to get information to farmers in a more cost-effective way. Market for sustainable products, so looking at consumer end of the picture and how we might look at fostering a market for sustainable products and how to engage with consumers a little bit, I think. Also, the role that that research and development would continue to play as a driver of broader impact on sustainability, acknowledging that there are a number of questions still unanswered with respect to how to best manage agricultural production systems from a sustainability perspective. In terms of partnerships, a few quick things came up. Particularly in terms of private sector, having flexibility in engaging with the private sector and listening to the potential needs that they have through things like roundtables, as opposed to coming with set agendas. Also looking, and an example was raised from Vietnam in that regard, a new program that IPSAD and FAO have been working on for the EU in the Delta region, where we are encouraging multi-stakeholder platforms or roundtables as a way to bring a range of different stakeholders to discuss sustainable production. Also, Reggie from Grow Asia, he mentioned this idea of brainstorming around different funding opportunities to bring partners together, and we talked a little bit about the Global Environment Facility and GEF8 as a possible area of collaboration or discussion, and there are others, of course. So that's it, Lefingo.
Thank you very much, Bo. You've got some really good buzzwords over there. The different funding opportunities, multi-stakeholder engagements, and roundtable engagement of private sector and digitization and sustainable markets and engaging consumers. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Can I jump onto Dada, group 2?
Yes, my group is very exciting. Uh, I wanted to say I'm very thankful. The group is very well represented with some of the working groups that we've been trying to work with for quite a while. I'm very happy that the disaster coordinating group was there. The ASEAN Working Group on Climate Change was also there, and as well, I'm messing this up, as well as the SOM RDPE, Rural Development and Poverty Eradication, is also there. So there's a very multi-sectoral and several development partner. Asia DRA was also there, as well as SEI. And we came up with three very specific convergent point. One is because the ADMIR, the disaster is also the disaster group, sorry to say this, as disaster group is also building resilience. There's a very big opportunity to work with their ADMIR, it's called ADMIR work plan, as well as there is an adaptation fund project, which shows the implementation of the declaration of strengthening drought. There's an opportunity for CRN and the disaster group to work together on this, and even with the RDPE. There's also a brief mention of the need to learn about local level governance on climate change plans and decentralization. And Philippines has offered to the Thailand representative that there could be an exchange knowledge event on local level or decentralized adaptation planning. CRN can also work together with that. And we could also converge on the adaptation funded project. I cannot see my notes now. Sorry, the adaptation funded project on that shows a lot on risk financing as well, and we hope to converge it together with the ASEAN CRN Southeast Asia proposal for agriculture investment to the GCF Readiness Fund.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dada. The fact that you had multi-sectoral groups discussion, that speaks to the core mandate of CRN, and that's an excellent one. And again, I picked out the key issues on linking with ADMIR work plan, the adaptation project fund, and specifically also what's exciting is the local level governance adaptation projects and the risk financing. Planning. Excellent. I really appreciate that. Can I move on to group number 3, Hannah?
Yes, thank you, Lufingo. Actually, we have been a very small group, but nevertheless, we had a lively discussions. Unfortunately, we didn't have any representatives from member states, really, so we couldn't go that much into depth when it comes to needs. But still, we shared a few thoughts, and we had participation from Asia, DRA, GAXA, GIZ, ASEAN Secretariat, and I did glimpse Alfie at the end, but unfortunately, that was at the very end. So like key issues that were mentioned related to strengthening ASEAN joint approaches in international and regional issues were that, well, key buzzwords here are definitely that transdisciplinary action is needed for that countries and sectoral bodies in ASEAN, working in ASEAN should seek convergence and coherence, within ASEAN, but of course also then looking to the international level, looking towards international partners as well. Common positions have been mentioned several times as a key output, a key tool that ASEAN CRN has already been supporting in the past, but that will remain to be a key output to look for. We discussed about the role of CRN for achieving these goals of transdisciplinary action, convergence, and so forth. And we saw CRN as a co-creation space, as a partnership place, and generally a place that brings stakeholders together. And we raised the question whether maybe the mandate of CRN could, well, it has certainly evolved, and if it could maybe evolve further, maybe looking into the direction of which participants, which stakeholders can be involved in the future, looking, of course, as we saw already successfully done today and in other meetings at different ASEAN sectoral bodies, but also looking at beneficiaries. So how can we link more to farmers and to the stakeholders we want to actually reach with the activities that CRN is supporting? So maybe that is something to look into, something that we can strengthen further, and that could also strengthen the mandate of CRN. We had a lot of support collected already beforehand, so that's already reflected in the table coming from FAO, from SEI, from ATWGARD, and so forth. So I'm not going to repeat that. Additionally, it was mentioned by GAXA that they are very happy to support selling the successes of CRN and of ASEAN as a region in general, and supporting with outreach towards international partners that could help to further strengthen outreach and upscaling of CRN success. ATWGARD mentioned potential linkages to their support related to the RDPE work plan, and there were some actually concrete initiatives and concrete action items where they saw immediate potential for synergies that I will not go into now in detail, but will report then in writing. And of course, ASEAN Secretariat highlighted again that they are very willing to support facilitation, that they are always there to help us reach out to stakeholders, especially related to other ASEAN entities. Yeah, I think that's like the overview from the discussion that we have or had.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Excellent. Key issue on transsectoral convergence and action. We already have issues to do with position papers and how best can we use those tools to further foster and boost CRN's role and co-creation space. And also, key thing, what other partners are required or not already in the room that we need to make sure that we link to these beneficiaries and getting to sell not just within the region, but also outside the region, some of the great things that are coming out from the region. Can I jump to group number 4? Ayla, please.
Yes, thank you, Vingo, and thank you so much to the participants from Breakout 4. It was really a very productive discussion. So our topic is about promoting high-value industries, sustainability, and productivity in agriculture. Some suggestions one suggestion is related to the importance of sustainable finance, which is already a highly discussed topic in the CRN and an emerging hot topic for high-value industries and private sector finance. There's also a lot of focus on the importance of regional collaboration, which is precisely what we are doing now and which we want to keep building on for various things, such as seeking funding support to mobilize the scaling up of technologies, and also related to integrated partnerships between food system related agencies. A very concrete suggestion from Thailand. So partnerships between food system related agencies, both at the national and regional levels, in relation to comprehensive recovery plans for resilient food systems, and regional collaboration on the 5 action tracks of the UN Food Systems Summit. So this really making use of CRN as a platform. And another role for the CRN is to serve as a knowledge broker to match up with donors, so that this is a role that CRN can play more generally beyond this meeting where we are doing this exercise. We also talked about scaling up. So in terms of technologies that are already on the ground, and the capacity for innovation at local and national levels. I think this is acknowledging that there are already a lot of existing technologies, there are already innovations, but these the capacity for these and the technologies need to be scaled up. And also to focus on small scale farmers in particular, and focusing on their needs in relation to resilience. And of course, in order to do this, we do need the capacity building. So capacity building for production, production capacity of small scale farmers, but also capacity building for SMEs to offer services in order to help small scale farmers to become more resilient. And we also talked about stakeholder mapping. So the importance of stakeholder mapping in relation to the different stages of the value chain, and identifying those who can help and turn them into supporters, and also looking at the public narrative of consumers and not just the sort of the typical actors or stakeholders, but really looking at a broader set of stakeholders to be able to provide support and treat them as stakeholders as well. And Climate and Clean Air Coalition mentioned the initiative that they have supporting a project in Vietnam, Thailand, Bangladesh, and Pakistan regarding low emissions rice production. So this is already an existing partnership. And they also flagged that they will soon have a call for proposals on capacity building for developing countries related to COVID recovery, but which could include actions in the agriculture sector. So they will share this with the CRN Secretariat once the call comes out, and which would be a really good opportunity to actually tie a lot of these issues together related to resilience and using the COVID recovery to also support agriculture efforts. And lastly, a suggestion also from Thailand is to build capacity of genetic conservation laboratories as another partnership and synergy that can unlock opportunities. I think that's it for our group. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for running us through that. I think the key thing that you really meant that I picked one was the new hot currency right now is all evolving around the food system summit. And you've clearly brought on key issues on knowledge brokering, which is, again, one of the core mandates for the platform, scaling up, and also key issue on capacity development initiatives and stakeholder mapping. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I see that there are certain points that are also highlighted in the other groups. It'll be interesting as we consolidate all of these and see how best we match them across the different objectives. I will now move on to the last group, group number 5. Hariz, your group, please.
Okay, thank you, Fingo. Our group were the smallest. I won't mention how many was there. Okay, nevertheless, we are very happy to share what we have discussed. So the topic is actually about the support needed in the ASEAN Recovery Framework. So actually, ASEAN Recovery Framework discussing about how to consolidate the exit strategy from the COVID-19 crisis. So out of the 3 questions, on number 1, the gaps that that currently CRN should focus on. The first one is actually the farmers having difficulties to market their products when the COVID initially happened, and after that they have problems with accessing to the inputs. So it's affecting the whole supply chain of agricultural produce. So looking at this scenario, CRN could help in terms of using the digitization or information technology to help the farmers to market their products, for example. And when we look at the aspects of the inputs, we can use the transfer technology, improve local technologies in which ASEAN members country, ASEAN CRN could help into. On the third questions, our discussion sees that we should strengthen the mechanism in financial as well as the funding for post-COVID era, especially for the affected farmers. So that's all basically from us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well put. On the recovery, let's look at the entire value chain and what are the key entry points that need strengthening, particularly on the marketing side, but not just focusing on the marketing side, also on the inputs. And one key thing that you have also brought up in trying to group all of this together is on digitization for markets and inputs, and also looking at how best can these be backed up with good financial and funding. I really appreciate it. Dada, as you've heard, we've got some really interesting points. It'll be interesting for us now. As you can see right now on your screen, we're trying to map out key buzz that have been coming out from the different groups, and we'll consolidate these entries. I'm excited, Dada. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Lufingo. I had been muted just because I have been muted by the host because there was a barking of the dog, but my dog is not here. So that's not me. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lufingo, for such an excellent moderation of the breakout session. And the main objective really of the breakout session is that we really establish convergence and partnerships. And I think that in a lot of the breakout sessions, we have been able to, like, I've really been so happy that the disaster management committee is here. There's a lot of work on resilience there, and we have been able to really specifically say how we're going to work together. And that's the CCAC, for example, sharing is an example of a very particular possibility of collaboration. So I'm not sure if I'm in a time warp or something. I thought we are on time, but it seems like we are behind. I don't know if I entered a time warp, but I think now before the next program is the time for a break from MARDI in one of their fun food trip that we're supposed to be experiencing.
Hello CRN family, I'm here with the food hunter with another session, durian time. So, do you know king of fruit? Today we have Musang King, a well-known durian in Malaysia. So we are here in Balik Pulau, Penang, which is the place where we can find the most premium durian in Malaysia. Where we have a meeting, CRN in Penang, which is on April, we are going to eat durian. But too bad you are not here with me, and we will show you our durian time. Very good.
So that is a very short break. There's 2 more to come from Malaysia. That is what we should have been eating. I'm getting a lot of very good responses on the chat room. We really wish that we are in Penang. Just going back quickly on the results of the breakout sessions, we hope to present them to you in a more organized fashion. Perhaps we will email that. Just give us time. As you know, there's really a lot of shortcoming of a virtual meeting. So may I see the next slide, please, of the program? This is I think, after we have heard and have a breakout session, I really think that we are hearing a lot of the support coming from our partners. And I think that once we hear from them, and I hope that they will do it rather quickly, we will be able to identify more of the collaboration later on. This is only the beginning of our dialogue that will lead to a work plan. So this is the next part of our program before we actually start to end this. So I would like to call on the first part of our development partner. This has been a long time supporter of ASEAN Climate Resilience Network. The predecessors project of the Climate Smart Land Use Project have been supporting together with FAO, the CRN. So let's hear from them what are in store in support of CRN. Hannah, over to you.
Thank you, Dada. And let me quickly open my presentation. So, can you see my presentation?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I will try to be as brief as possible. Yeah, thank you very much for giving us the room to present some of our activities that we have already concluded and that are ongoing, that are relevant for ASEAN CRN, most of our activities actually, and some of our plans for the future. I will definitely highlight the latter part. Maybe just as an information for you, the ASEAN. The Climate Smart Land Use in ASEAN project has been extended luckily until the end of the year. So there will still be some time for us to actually implement some activities together. Very much looking forward to that. As I said, I don't want to talk much about ongoing uncompleted activities, especially because I will present also tomorrow on progress during the ATWGARD meeting, but maybe just to highlight 2 or 3 issues. Of course, we have continued to provide coordination support for CRN and ANGA through the ASEAN Secretariat, ASEAN CRN Secretariat. We did also support the preparation of this meeting. I'm very happy how well it turned out. It's a great pleasure to be here, really. We also always together with FAO and GACSA actually, have prepared or contributed to preparing the virtual meetings last year. And also we continue our support for ANGA so that they can participate in the Coronivia dialogues. And we intend to do that, of course, also in 2021. And the ASEAN Climate Leadership Program has already been mentioned in the remarks by the chair, so I'm not going to explain more about this. Maybe just as a general wrap up on that, we have received very positive feedback from the ASEAN member states who participated. Many of them also affiliated with CRN or ATWGARD. So we are currently considering to organize a second batch. So that is one of the support offers we can extend to CRN and the ASEAN, our ASEAN friends in general. We are working on quite a number of knowledge products. One of those has already been published. Others are to be published very soon, actually in the next few weeks. And we will, of course, share them with you. And for some of them, we will, of course, also actively engage with you to seek your ideas, to include your expertise. And these knowledge products are never meant as standalone papers, but they always are designed in a way that they will provide input to the activities, to the knowledge exchange and capacity building activities that we intend to support. Other activities we have been involved in the last year, don't want to go into that much further. Let me better spend my time introducing to you some activities that we are planning for the next few months, and that we will also include as the offer that we would give to CRN. Firstly, we would like to support additional volumes to the already existing ASEAN CSA guidelines. All of you are aware, and it has also been, I think, included in the initial presentation by the chair, know the 2 volumes of the CSA guidelines that are already out there. We would like to suggest to actually complement them with a 3rd volume to be able to present more relevant CSA practices to help to further strengthen knowledge and outreach for these practices in the ASEAN world. And additionally to this 3rd volume describing more practices, we suggest to develop a CSA implementation framework that covers all CSA CSA guidelines then, and that would contain general principles and recommendations for how to further advance CSA in ASEAN in general. So this is a proposal that has been shared with you already prior to this meeting, thanks to also the engagement of our chair, Kun Margaret, and the ASEAN Secretariat. We have received some feedback on that already, generally very positive feedback, and some further thoughts on that we will definitely consider when further developing this proposal. And we are very much looking forward to receive more feedback on this idea, on this proposal, either in this meeting or afterwards. So please feel free to get in touch with us anytime on this. This work on CSA guidelines, we would like to intertwine and link to further capacity building and knowledge exchange support, which brings me to my next point. We would like to propose to organize a series of technical events on selected climate smart land use topics. Generally speaking, we are thinking about 2 to 3 shorter events like webinars or half-day trainings, for example, and one larger multi-day conference. Also picking up on what we discussed earlier, it should be transdisciplinary, including various stakeholders' perspectives from different stakeholder groups, including beneficiaries. So this is the idea so far. We would love to see this as an activity that is hosted by ASEAN CRN in general, and ideally we would like to find member states who would like to act as specific hosts for the individual events. So if you're interested to become a host country of one of these virtual events, please also follow up with us. The choice of topics we shared with you also with a concept note prior to this meeting, and also in the form of a short survey. We did receive some feedback in writing and emails, but we would love to see more feedback from you actually on this. So if you type in the URL that you see, the link that you can see on this slide, tiny.cc/CRN21. You can right now again tell us your priorities for selected topics that we prepared already. So please feel free to follow that link and participate in the voting that you can find there. Maybe I can share at the end of the meeting the results, or we will include it in the documentation. These are further activities that we are planning that I don't want to talk about in detail. We are organizing a climate finance sector expert training at the end of this month with representatives coming from CRN and other relevant actors from the food, agriculture, and forestry sector. As I said, we are currently planning or proposing to organize a second batch of the ASEAN Climate Leadership Program. We are further proposing and currently coordinating ideas for joint activities between ANGA, the ASEAN Working Group on Climate Change, and the ASEAN Working Group on Forestry and Climate Change related to climate change negotiations and coming up with common positions. And we work on further knowledge products. So that was a very compressed run through some of our activities. As I said, you have received some of the concept notes prior to this meeting. Please give us your feedback. Please always approach us with ideas and thoughts. We will definitely, of course, also refer to the work plan that we discussed in the previous session. And here again, you can see the link where you can vote for specific CSA related or climate smart land use related topics that we could pick up on in this technical event series that we are planning to organize. Yeah. Thank you very much for providing us the space here. And over to you, and I stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and thanks to GIZ, Climate Smart Land Use, for continuous support of CRN, actually. And just quickly note that the technical exchanges that are often hosted by CRN are normally hosted by a host country. There is CRN and then a host country that Philippines can attest to that. The Philippine Ministry of Agriculture, for example, we had the most amazing karaoke on the beach And we are looking with Bo singing Elvis Presley on the beach, and that was really hosted by the Philippines. But Vietnam also hosted a very nice CRN event a few times in Vietnam, actually. So we look forward to those activities as shared by Hannah from GIZ, and I really hope that we all fill up the survey form. We're running behind, so I would like to call on Bo Damen to share activities from FAO Regional Asia Pacific Office as our.
Thanks, Dada. The can somebody stop sharing the screen, and then I'll.
I see some German words there. I think Hannah is still sharing.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll just pop something up very quickly. It won't try to take up much time. Okay. Yeah, so just an overview of what FAO will do is doing this year that's supporting the CRN and our colleagues here. I won't focus on the past, I'll just focus on sort of what we're planning to do this year, and it's not a comprehensive overview, there's other things of course, but this is some specific things relevant to CRN. So, of course, wherever possible, we'll continue to support CRN with partners. I think one of the great things about CRN is the ongoing partnership, not just between the countries, of course, but also, the various development partners that are here in the call today and others that have been with us on the CRN journey for such a long time now. A lot of work at the FAO Regional Office of relevance to CRN at the moment is on NDC enhancement and preparation. At the national level, we've been working directly with a number of ministries, ministries of environment, ministries of agriculture on support to NDC specification and implementation planning. There's a new regional project that's just started up this year on scaling ambition for NDCs in agriculture and land use called Scala. Now that project is operating directly in Cambodia and Thailand, but it's also possible here to do work at the regional level. Some of the events that we've organized in the past have been co-organized by these types of FAO programs as well. So there's an opportunity here to bring additional support to technical topics such as the ones that Hannah has raised in the last presentation, and anything that comes up in the next 4 or 5 years. This project will be ongoing for about another 4 or 5 years. Also, something of interest, I know it's close to the heart of some of the people on the call who do a lot of work with agricultural soils. There's a new activity that we'll launch in the next month or so with IPCC and IGES on soil carbon monitoring and for greenhouse gas inventory. This is something that's come up in the past in ASEAN CRN discussions on Coronivia and UNFCCC. So it's something that IPCC is interested to look into more, and we want to understand better national capacities for soil carbon monitoring over the next few months. So we'll be reaching out to some of you on that topic. The GCF Readiness Project has already been discussed, and I think we're very close now to having everything in place to finally submit that to the Secretariat. So I just wanted to quickly thank everybody who's been involved in supporting that effort. I think for the region, it will be hopefully a big achievement as well, being only the second project of its type globally, and I think the first specifically targeting KJWA. So a big thank you, and in some ways congratulations as well to everybody involved in bringing that together. Hopefully we can get that over the line. On Food System Summit dialogues, we've organized one already with GACSO, with ASEAN CRN. It went very well, and we're looking forward to the next few that we're looking to support over the next few months. And we're trying to tie that experience and the feedback that we get from that process directly to other work related to UNFCCC, COP26, the closing of the Coronivia process. Just quickly, the last few things I wanted to mention. Dada already mentioned in her summary some of the things that we're doing on disaster risk management at the regional level. We're working at the regional level on protocols for drought, typhoon and flood management in ASEAN, doing a lot of work on early warning and anticipatory action. We have some projects that a number of countries in the region are engaged with, and we'll be reaching out to you on that as well. A specific activity on nature-based solutions. This is something that comes up more and more in the global discussions on climate change, and it's something that we've been working on at FAO for a little while. There's a specific activity in Vietnam linked to a new adaptation fund project and also a regional report. So we'll be looking for your views on that new topic or new area of work with respect to climate change. Looking at land use more broadly, there's a lot of work ongoing in also forestry and the interface between forestry and agriculture. There's a new project in the Lower Mekong region, building out of the UN RED project, which of course is also very relevant for work on UNFCCC. Work on mangroves as well, and also afforestation and reforestation. And bringing all of this together at the country level, FAO, we're also, over the last few years, with the support of many people on the call, have been building the field program, the country level field program on climate change. So this is just a quick overview of where we are with the field program and highlighting here in Southeast Asia the work that's ongoing and the technical topics. In the recent discussion today, we talked about some of the projects on sustainable rice landscapes, transparency for climate change, climate resilient agriculture, ecosystem resilience and RED, and climate finance readiness. The color coding here, green is GEF, blue is GCF, red is adaptation fund, and all very relevant for the work that colleagues are doing in the ASEAN vision and the strategic thrusts and objectives of the work that all the AMS are engaged in. So again, all of the outputs from this work is highly relevant to the work of ASEAN CRN, and I know that a number of you are directly engaged with some of these projects as well. So again, thank you for the support, and I think we'll be able to bring lessons learned from these projects back to CRN over the coming few years as we get fully into implementation. That's all from me, Dada. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Bo. It seems like, between GIZ support and FAO support, there's really hope for substantial contribution of ASEAN CRN in collaboration with several working groups and other sectors and other groups to ASEAN. So I would like to call on both GACSA, afterwards would be CCAFs, to give us some very quick updates in terms of support. And I'm very sorry, I think we are really running behind. I thought we are keeping time. So
no worries. I'll be quite quickly here. Morning, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Simon Leiber. I'm the coordinator of the facilitation unit of GACSA. I just want to thank you, Dada, and the Asian CRN family for inviting GACSA to your 6th annual meeting. The Asian Network has been a close collaborator with GACSA from the beginning. I think we had like less than 100 members and organizations. Today we have grown to more than 520 organizations. This shows how important these sort of platforms are to bring different voices and views to the table. So this time I would like to share the floor with my team, Jana and Lufingo, who have been working with the Asian CRN family closely in the last 2 years, more than ever. Lufingo will give us a quick glance on the Asian CRN and the GACSA contribution. And then Jana will highlight how these virtual events have performed in our social media world, where everything is happening in terms of visibility due to travel restriction and COVID. And lastly, I want to thank you, Dada, and the Secretariat for the amazing work that you do to keep the ball rolling in these amazing events, even if they are virtual. So without further ado, we'd like to pass the mic to Lufingo quickly. Lufingo, over to you.
Well, thank you, Simon. Thank you, colleagues. I think as it has been reiterated with the other speakers before us, there's a key niche for such platforms, especially as GAGSA, in that we are an all-inclusive multi-stakeholder platform. And that's one key thing that we need to embrace. We operate on the principle that by combining our strengths and all partners coming together, we make better progress. And with such, we've seen this with CRN and the work that we've been doing, especially through you, Dada, leading these initiatives and in making sure that these platforms bring together the key stakeholder groupings together, particularly the farmers and the private sector. And that's one key thing that has been coming out from the discussion groups. On the 15th, Bo also mentioned, 15th of March, we held together joint forces with FAO and CRN and GAGSA in our first food systems regional dialogue. It was an excellent event on innovation, but the key thing now is how best can we further take these key issues and lessons further, and not just targeting the food system summit, but also beyond the summit and also COP. So look out for follow-up events. April, May, there's a follow-up event on the Food System Summit. We also, the other key issue, we also have so many interesting research ideas, research-based agricultural practices and innovation ideas coming out from the region. And as we've mentioned before, as GAGSA, we're keen to sell and retail some of these innovative ideas, not just within the region, but also outside the region, so that others or other regions get to learn from the key ideas that are coming out from the region and vice versa. Our work on CSA promotion requires all partners coming together around the table to discuss and share some of the key lessons. So on my part, I applaud you, CRN and Secretariat, I applaud you, Dada, for bringing us together to create, not necessarily to create parallel processes, but to join hands together so that there is sufficient space, and how do we take advantage of this space? GAGSA is here to support and committing for us to further have these dialogue spaces and making valuable contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lufingo. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Jana Stankova. I'm the communication specialist for GAGSA. I would just like to point out, I absolutely love the videos. They were really amazing. And I would like to ask my colleagues if maybe you can share them with me so we can promote them also on GAGSA's social media. Bringing me back to the point actually that Lufingo mentioned on the UNF SSD ASEAN CRN Independent Food System Dialogue. Just give you some brief numbers. We had over 650 registrations, and we reached more than 25,000 views on our social media, which I think this is absolutely amazing numbers. And I'm very happy to support ASEAN also on many other events, as virtual events, including these annual meetings and many more upcoming dialogues. So as Simon and Lufingo mentioned, please stay tuned. And also I would like to share with you, we created a LinkedIn group for GAGSA members. So I will share the link in the chat, which you're more than welcome to join. And we would also like to see not only the knowledge and publications, but also you can share there, for example, photos and videos from the field, which also make it like a bit more fun interaction. So thank you very much, and I'll be sharing the information in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you so much to GAGSA. That was a 3-person presentation, and thank you so much for all your support. But we don't want to sound like we are ending the relationship, so let's just move on. There's more to come. I want to call Yana Corner to represent CCAF's climate change in agriculture and food security, and representing the CIAT group. Hi, Yana.
Hi, Dada. Thank you so much for having me. I am Jana. I am Innovation Manager of the CCAFs and also member of the CGA-GIZ Task Force from Scaling. And I'm working closely with Danush, who most of you know and who conveys his regards, and also expresses continuous support to the ASEAN Negotiators Group on Agriculture engaged in climate negotiations. Actually, today I have been encouraged to share with you another quite innovative initiative that we undertook together with the ASEAN CRN and the MAX 20 Group on Climate Smart Agriculture and partners like FAO and GIZ. And I think I would need to share my screen for that. I will be very quick, it's less than 5 minutes.
There you are, Jana. It's already, we incorporated your presentation.
Okay, thank you so much. So I want to share with you on the Sustainable Finance Challenge series. And I believe that this also responds to many of the topics that we have raised today and which we undertook between November last year and March of this year. Can we see the next slide, please? So this initiative, it went back to a report that the CCAFs had commissioned in frame of its Agricultural Transformation Initiative, financing the transformation of food systems under a changing climate. And you can see the link in the presentation. It's not marked blue now, but I think later when we send around the presentation, you will find the link and you will land directly at the report. So this report had identified the main bottlenecks for scaling sustainable finance, which were a deep pipeline for bankable projects, a deal matchmaking facility, and a platform or mechanism for generating and sharing the respective needed knowledge. And what we did was we took these systemic bottlenecks and turned them into design challenges. And we developed a workshop program that followed the design thinking process led by a professional coach. And also you will find on this slide a link to the concept note, also under the hack section. So if you're interested, you can have a look at the concept note. Some words on the design thinking process. This leads participants through a sequence of clearly structured and micro-timed tasks so that one workshop output builds on the other, and outputs are generated in a very effective way of multi-stakeholder collaboration. So in our case, that meant that we had a shared kickoff workshop with participants representing more than 16 different agencies of the sustainable finance community. And from there, we split into 3 working teams, each one tackling a different challenge. And each team then meeting again 2 times during the course of the initiative. And then we had the final event where we came all together again and merged our different results into one shared prototype. So this was already an innovative process. And now I would like to share also the output. The next slide, please. So what we did was we developed all together a prototype of a tool that we all felt would fill the most strong gap in the sustainable finance community. We developed a self-assessment tools for SMEs in agri-food value chains so that these could quick scan their SME risk, return, and impact profiles based on the most important info needed by investors, while at the same time having a user-friendly automated interface which also guides the SMEs through the process. And now I don't have time again to go into detail. You can see the sketches of the prototype here. I would like to invite you all to have a look into our pitch. We have a recording, and in the next slide, you will also see the link to access this. So if you access this YouTube link, you will be led to our edited recording, and you can see the summary and the synthesis of our design thinking journey. And also from minute 6 to 16, you can see the pitch of our prototype. Currently, we are collecting more feedback, and our next steps will be to continue promoting this idea, for example, in the current global dialogues like the COP26 and UN Food System Summit, and also to iterate this prototype with the next round, looking into technical feasibility and possible business models. So with this, I would like to invite your feedback. we have prepared for this a feedback slide, which would be, you can have a look in the next slide, which we call the tester grid, where we invite people just to quickly say from the top of their heads what they liked about the idea or what they didn't like so much, and also what open questions they would have, and what would you suggest as further features or further steps. And I think with this, I would already like to finish. I hope I inspired you a little bit and you would like to participate and shape with us on this initiative, and invite you again very much to have a look and provide your feedback. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Yana. I would like to say that CCAPS had been together with the CRN since the beginning, a really great support, especially in providing also the science community behind the policy that CRN helps do. So we are very grateful, and we hope that I also want to emphasize that these sharing from the development partners are not just for CRN focal points, but CRN as facilitating the bridge between the sources of support and other working groups that I know are still in the meeting room. We haven't dropped so low in the attendance yet. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Yana. And these are the core groups that have been supporting CRN from the beginning, but we also have several groups that are supporting us. People are not sure what to call themselves as member or part. We just say everyone is a member of the CRN family, I think. I would like to just invite some groups to quickly just share what can they offer, or what can they offer to CRN and other related working groups that are in this meeting today. I think I have warned ASEAN that they are welcome to give sharing rather quickly if they want to, as well as SEI. I believe Albert has now gone into the Thai holidays, and so I will call Nicole if you want to share something. Will I be calling Marlene?
Yes,
Marlene,
Dada.
are you there?
Yes.
Hi.
Good afternoon,
nice
everyone. Thank you, Dada, for the opportunity to bring forward possible convergence action with the CRN. And thank you for the openness to involve us as part of the bigger CRN family. So being relatively new in the platform, may I introduce our organization, which is a network of rural development NGOs dedicated to the empowerment of rural people's organizations and the building of resilient communities, dedicated as well to human resource development, policy advocacy, and on-ground piloting, and to contributing to value and data-driven knowledge learning and sharing in pursuit of rural development. So linked to the call towards building greater community resiliency in 2018, we got the mandate from our constituency to integrate climate action in agriculture, and more recently in the context of the need to champion territorial rural development. So specifically, I'd like to share a current plan. We have discussed this idea to FAO, but ASEAN plans to embark on developing a community climate resiliency participation mechanism instructed by a study on climate resiliency of farmers' organization in the ASEAN region published in 2019. So we plan to start this with a scoping study covering the identification of existing climate adaptation information hubs, communities of practice, and any other online or on-ground scheme or network on climate change adaptation. So from this study, the mechanism can be built from the ground up, enabling community organizations to be linked up with their government partners and support institutions to sustain and expand and eventually scale up initiatives. We thought that the value added of this mechanism is to give government or the NDCs a more specific connection to on-ground work, paving the way for consolidating grassroots or community initiatives and strengthening the buy-in of climate adaptation actions identified nationally with grassroots inputs. So further linkages may also be considered with academic institutions and other adaptation networks to strengthen its salience and relevance to the ongoing and incoming challenges of climate change. And as a support or technical organization for the SOM-RDPE ASEAN sectoral body, we encourage CRN to also work closely with SOM-RDPE because within its work plan for 2021 to 25, there are at least 4 regional initiatives identified, and I think CRN will be of value to CRN to work with SOM-RDPE on that regard. Thank you, Dada.
Thank you so much, Marlene, for such a very concise and comprehensive sharing at the same time. As long as you can sing in karaoke, I think that you are very welcome to the CRN family.
I can.
That you are. Yeah, I know that you are, that you can. We're running late, but Nicole from Stockholm Environment Institute, would you like to share a few words? And then we will ask the chair then to react to all the sharing of support here afterwards.
Thank you, Dada. I'm not so sure about my ability to sing karaoke, but maybe if we're ever in person, I could try. But as Dada mentioned, I'm from the Stockholm Environment Institute, and we have been supporting the GIZ CSLU program with a lot of more technical research inputs. But SEI more generally does a lot of work related to climate smart agriculture, as well as disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. And so we plan to announce a grant mechanism for a regional event on climate and disaster resilience. So this could be a space for the CRN, but we'll see how that plays out in the coming weeks. And otherwise, we look forward to seeing how the research we're doing in other areas can also contribute to this important area of work, as well as what we've been doing with GIZ. So looking forward to seeing you all soon in the many events.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole, for a brief sharing. And so I would like to ask the 2 chairs, the co-chairs, Thailand and Malaysia. You've heard you were in the breakout sessions, you've seen the regional needs because you are well represented in so many ASEAN working groups working in this field. And you've also heard the support coming from our development partners, and there's many more. It can't fit in, but our butt is hurting from too much sitting. So we're going to be satisfied with what we have right now. And I would like to hear any feedback from the co-chairs, Thailand and Malaysia, of any feedback regarding CRN plans and working together with other groups and the support that we're getting. Dr. Margaret, perhaps you'd like to go first? You are muted. You are muted still. And you are still muted. Should I?
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Can you hear me? So thank you for this thank you for facilitating a very rich knowledge exchange. And I am very glad that we cover all the key areas that ASEAN CRN should be focusing on. Maybe for example is the sustainable production, increasing productivity, private sector engagement, this digitalization, all these private sector partnerships. But what I really like the term which Thailand is actually the one who proposed it. I would like to see ASEAN CRN as a knowledge broker. Which means that we try to stack take what are the strength of our ASEAN CRN family, and then we try to link this with the donor partners having a common regional interest. And as you already put in your video a while ago, ASEAN CRN is adapting with the times. And so you would see that the trend of work that we try to promote in the region is, or at the national level, is actually depending on the current trends. For example, now that we are talking about BCG, this biocircular and green economy, this was not mentioned during the discussion, but has been being promoted, BCG, and also SDGs, and also the UN Food System Summit. So works, all national or the ASEAN member states giving priority to these policies to respond to these global trends. And so I'm very, very happy that Dada has facilitated this ASEAN CRN meeting in a way that we were able to really cover up important things, and we were able to know our partners, and so maybe that is a very good start. Well, not start. We are actually working together all the time, but but we need to actually change in times, which means that we try to put our priority policies in our national policies as well. So thank you very much to all our partners and to all the group rappers, group discussions. Thank you.
Okay, this is not yet the end, so not yet. So I would like to call the co-chair, Dr. Dato Mohammed. If you have just a few comments on how you think the support is coming and how we're going to work together.
Okay, thank you, Dada. Firstly, I would like to thank all the participants for really fruitful discussion during the breakout session, and also very respectful to the agencies that are continuing supporting our CRN, and hopefully, as Dr. Margaret said, we need to adapt with the time. And one more thing is, I think we need to align our work towards post COVID-19 pandemic. So we need to realign our not really policy, maybe our approach, our mechanism to help the farmers, and also to help the industry in the region. So I think that's my suggestion to the secretariat. We need to look again what is our policy to realign with the event that happened maybe in the future. Again, we don't know, because during the pandemic, is a lot of bad thing happened to our farmers. They cannot market the products, and also all the product maybe sometimes just throw away to the bin. They cannot sell it to market it. So again, I would like to thank all the participants, and also the agencies that support us from the beginning, and hopefully we can get another organization that really want to support our future activities. So that's it. Dada, thank you very much, then.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dato Mohammed, and I'm still very happy to see you despite all the years. I think we're moving towards the end, and I would like to call Bo Daman, if he can to wrap up everything and give us a synthesis of the way forward. I really do feel that this is just the beginning of the conversation, and we really still need to really iron out a more specific work plan than what's coming out here. As we all know, there is such a big limitation of these virtual meetings to really come up with very specific work plan. But this is really, for myself, what I'm hoping for will come out. But I could already pinpoint the specificities of activities that are coming out here. So may I call on Bo Daman, who's been, Dr. Margaret, what is the designation of Bo Daman? Is he your son? The son of the grandmother of CRN?
You ask Bo first if he is happy about it.
But because the two of you
if
always
I'm the
seem
son
so
of the grandmother, I'm the father.
the son of the grandmother, I'm getting confused. Okay, Bo, just give yourself your own family designation.
Thanks, Dada. And I would be honored to be considered Margaret's adopted son. In terms of a quick summary, it's very hard to cover, I think, everything that was discussed. But what I did note down was the role of CRN as a knowledge broker. And this was something emphasized by a number of people during the discussions today. And that links to the exercise that we did on matching. Data, you mentioned that we need to try and elaborate a little bit more the work plan. There were so many ideas coming out. A few things that did strike me in the discussions that we had. Primarily, research and development. That this is where the CRN was born in ATWGARD. And there is a strong role, I think, in terms of research and development and supporting innovation and ideas for scaling action on climate change. So we do need to think about how we ground the activities that CRN can do in research and development, because that's really the core of all the members here represented today. And then from there, I think we can actually identify a range of additional supporting activities, and the ideas that were coming out were very interesting. So engagement with private sector, looking at opportunities in markets for sustainable or climate resilient products, looking at opportunities for digitization and reaching more farmers through digitization of different extension services and research and development activities. Also a number of funding opportunities and potential areas for collaboration or focal areas for collaboration came up. And some funds that came out clearly were Jeff, for example, Adaptation Fund. A number of projects or ideas were discussed, and also, of course, the Green Climate Fund work. All of this leads to possibilities for scaling the work of CRN and to meet the interests and the needs of the CRN members in terms of continuing its role as a knowledge broker, building additional capacity, delivering at the field level, which is something that I think also came up quite a bit. The work that we do, ultimately we are looking for projects or activities that lead to benefits for farmers as well. So I think the impression I got from the group was that a number of the activities discussed in their matching exercise were sort of leading towards greater impact. And for greater impact, we need to be reaching beneficiaries at the farm level. And there were some very solid ideas discussed today. So I think that coming out of this meeting, we'll be able to consolidate those ideas around some of the themes that I've just mentioned. And then, come back to the group to confirm, what we should be doing, what we should focus on this year. In partnership with all of the great partners who joined us today, and then we'll bring it back to the group, back to ASEAN CRN, back to ATWGARD, and ultimately back to the ASEAN Ministers of Agriculture and Forestry to guide us further on how we continue to deliver for ASEAN farmers with CRN. So that's a very quick summary, Dara. I don't know if I've covered everything. Apologies to anybody if I've missed something very important.
Thank you very much, Bo, for an excellent summary. And I've actually, and as you said, we started from research and then implementation and then back to research, or it's a similar cycle of national to regional and back to national again. And this seems to be what CRN is facilitating. There's a bit of movement on your screen where I just wanted to say that we are taking notes of the results of what happened from the breakout sessions. And we are really going to move forward towards getting the concrete collaboration there and translating that into the work plan. And I think we're going to have to see if there is also a part 2 of this where there's a follow-up towards the collaboration. And I believe that Dr. Margaret should give us and Dr. Mohammed should give us also guidance on the kind of output that CRN needs to present to tomorrow to the ATWGARD. This is perhaps going to be contained in your closing remarks. I would like to mention to everyone that we are soon nearing the end and we are going to have an internal meeting. This is not to exclude you, but this is just really about administrative issues such as legal entity and sustainability of operations. So I would like to call on so before we do that, we're going to have a closing ceremony where I will call Haris to moderate the closing ceremony before we move on to the internal internal CRN meeting. When I say internal, I would like to remind that the ones that we would like to see would be the CRN focal points and the traditional supporter of CRN, which would be GIZ, FAO, and GACSA, very especially because they contain the link to this. If GACSA leaves, we will the room will be closed. So at this point, we would like to first show a funny food video, and then I will call on Haris to facilitate the closing ceremonies. Can we see one more of the
Now it is dinner time. We have special appearance from Focal Point CRN, Mr. Haris. Hi, Mr. Haris.
Hi.
What we have now in front of us?
This one is a chendol. Okay, the first one is from durian here.
Oh, durian.
Yeah, you will love the smell, I think, right? Chendol is a jackfruit. This is laksa. Famous one is the Penang laksa, Penang Assam laksa.
Okay, and next we have
call it rojak. Spicy peanut gravy.
Of course, because we are in Penang,
Yes,
so we
right.
call it Pak Sembo.
Yes. So today we have 3 special types of chendol.
Chendol is made from coconut.
Yes, coconut milk and palm sugar.
I can't wait for taste all this food.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Shall we?
Yes.
Sure.
Take this one.
Oh, it's good with this one.
I'll take the best one, durian.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Let's try our Pak Sembo and laksa that have been stolen.
Okay, let's try it.
Enjoy the moment.
Oh my God. Congratulations, Mardi. I think we really miss out. I think they owe us. They have to feed us that, no, Dr. Margaret? Let's call now Haris to facilitate the closing ceremonies.
Alright. Okay, thank you, Dada. Okay. Just a second. All right. Okay, thanks again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the 6th ASEAN CRN meeting 2021. It has been a great day and a very insightful session with all of you. Thank you to each and every one of you for your kind presence, engagement, and active participation in this meeting. For an official closing ceremony, first I would like to invite Dr. Margaret as the chair of ASEAN CRN to deliver the closing remarks. Please, Dr. Margaret.
Thank you, Haris. Before we conclude this virtual meeting, I really appreciate how this meeting was organized, bringing productive outputs and concrete actions and way forward for the ASEAN CRN. I am confident that we will have a good progress report to the 15th ATWGARD virtual meeting tomorrow. With that, I would like to thank once again MARDI, our host, and our dear partners, the GIZ Climate Smart Land Use Project, FAO Regional Asia Pacific Office, the Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture, the Climate Change Agriculture and Food Security, the SEI, the Asia DHRRA, and of course, to all the ASEAN member states, representatives from relevant working groups for your active cooperation and dedication to our ASEAN CRN as always. And special mention to the moderator, Ms. Imelda Dada Bakudo, breakout room facilitators and wrappers, Mr. Bo Dayman, Mr. Mohammed Haris bin Abdul Rahman, Ms. Hannah Rutter, Ms. Simon Leiba, Ms. Jana Kerner, Ms. Aya De Leon, and to all of you who have contributed to the success of this meeting. Thank you all and hope to see you again in person. Before I cry, Haris, back to you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Dr. Magri. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Muhammad Zabawi Abdul Ghani, Director of Agrobiodiversity and Environment Research Center, MARDI, to deliver the closing remarks. Please, Dato.
Thank you, Haris. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. Dr. Margaret, Chair for ASEAN CRN, distinguished ASEAN Climate Resilient and ATWGARD Focal Points and its athletes, distinguished representative from international partners. Ladies and gentlemen, as the program comes to the end, I would like to take this opportunity to extend our heartfelt thanks to ASEAN CRN and ASEAN Secretariat, GIZ, and FAO for the excellent coordination for this meeting. I also would like to say that it's very insightful sharing session among ASEAN CRN family members, FAO, GIZ, GATSA, and others organizations. Our deepest appreciation to all participants for making this year's 6th annual ASEAN CRN online meeting a success. So congratulations and big applause to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that's all of you would have a chance to visit Penang. As Dada said, they maybe need to have some food from Penang in the near future, and have enjoyed everything that we have just shared throughout the meeting. We wish all of the best for the next year's host. Perhaps we'll be met again physically next time. So last but not least, I wish all of you stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much and terima kasih.
Haris.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zabawi. Under normal circumstances, we would have a one-day field trip at the end of the meeting to visit beautiful places, of course, Penang, and had a chance to visit our institute. But nevertheless, we still carry on with the virtual trip. So let's begin our field trip right now. Enjoy yourself.
Hold on, thank you so much, Haris. Indeed, this is a virtual field trip, and we make this also as the transition period. For those who will remain, please remain. And for those who will leave us, we say goodbye to you. Those who will remain are ASEAN CRN Focal Points, GIZ, FAO, GACSA. And Para Bukas, who's been giving us wonderful secretariat support. Can you also stay for the documentation? Thank you to Grow Asia. I hope I mentioned you before. Also to the ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management. Thank you really for joining us, and the SOM RDPE and the Secretariat of the Disaster Committee. This is now a virtual field trip with MARDI. We also take it as a bit of a break, and we see each other in 5 minutes, please. We are going to have our internal meeting discussing administrative issues and internal issues within CRN. Thank you so much to everyone, and Harry, thanks for such a great facilitation. And here's a field trip with MARDI.
Salam sejahtera. Welcome to Malaysian Agricultural Research and Development Institute, MARDI. Selamat datang. I'm Linda. Let me introduce to our focal point, Mr. Haris.
Hi, I'm Haris, focal point for ASEAN CRN.
And Miss Ani Adila.
Hello everyone, I'm Ani Adila, focal point for ATWGARD.
So today I will show you a little bit about MARDI and tour around MARDI headquarters. So let's go. So here is our first stop. This is the main building in MARDI headquarters known as Directorate Building. Here is where our Director General Office located.
Here in our gallery, our aim is to introduce and present a concise overview on how MARDI contribute as the premier agricultural research center in Malaysia. We also have Wall of Fame to honor our former Director General ever since MARDI was established in 1969.
Now we are at Biotechnology and Nanotechnology Research Center where CMDV lab is located. What does it mean by CMDV and what they are doing? Let's check it out.
Welcome to Center for Market Discovery and Validation. So CMDV has been certified with Quality Management System, Malaysian Standard ISO 901-2015.
And now we at Plant Factory MARDI. I'm so excited to show you all. Let's go inside.
Welcome to Plant Factory MARDI. This is where your fresh and nutritious vegetables are produced. Your health is our concern.
So enough the indoor, we need some fresh air. Come join us to the next stop. And now we are at Organic Integrated Farm MARDI. It has been established since the year of 2002. Finally, let's explore our last stop for today. Let us show you some of the precision farming technologies from Engineering Research Center, MARDI. this is the end of the video. Thank you for staying with us. Hope you enjoy it. Bye.
Okay. I think we are all tired now. And you know what? We forgot to take a group picture of us.